I'm at Bank Underground Station, home to the Central, Northern and Waterloo and City lines, as well as the terminus for the Docklands Light Railway. Today is a special day as it is the first day that I'm running the DLR. But what exactly is the Docklands Light Railway? Well, stick around to find out more, but also welcome to day 36 of Runderground.
The Docklands Light Railway is a light railway serving the Docklands. Pretty self-explanatory. Opening in 1987 from Tower Gateway in Stratford to Island Gardens, it was created as part of the developments for the London Docklands, which fell into disuse in the late 1960s. It's a bit of a change to, compared to what it was like back then to what it's like now. It's crazy. The DLR was later extended to Bank and Beckton, with an extension added to Lewisham in 1999. In 2009 it was extended to Woolwich and an extension to Stratford International in 2011. Now that a part of the history is out of the way, how do I plan on running it? Well, I was splitting the DLR into 3 sections: Bank to Lewisham, what we're covering today, Stratford to Stratford International via Poplar, and Canning Town to Woolwich Arsenal via Beckton. The DLR today has a total of 45 stations, with its network length spanning around 24 miles altogether. Right, with all that talking, where am I at now?
So just behind me is Tower Gateway DLR station, the original terminus of the DLR. There are actually plans to get rid of this station altogether, and it's because more passengers use the Bank terminus.
There may be the possibility of extending the DLR further west from Bank, splitting at City Thameslink to St Pancras and Victoria Station. However, in December 2020, TfL began further feasibility into extending the DLR further east to Beckton, Riverside and Thamesmead. There was also the possibility of having the DLR extended to Dagenham Dock and further south from Lewisham to Forest Hill. However, this hasn't come to fruition yet.
Just made it to Shadwell station that connects with the Overground station, a station that we have obviously been to before when I did the rather high tunnel. I'm still triggered by that, it still triggers me. The least with the DLR is that for most of the routes, you are running close to parallel to the DLR. We're just around the corner from Limehouse, and there are quite a few things to talk about at Limehouse. When this station first opened, it was originally called Stepney, but then it had its name changed to Stepney East. Now with Limehouse station for the DLR in particular is that the DLR opened on the old tracks of what was called the London and Blackwall Railway, which I'm going to explain a bit more about that right now.
The London and Blackwall Railway first opened in 1840 for Minories Station. Wait, is it Minories or Minories? I have no idea how to pronounce it properly. Let me know in the comments, please. Thank you. Anyway, there is a railway line to Blackwall with extensions to Victoria Park via Bow Road, or in that next week, and to North Greenwich. No, not that North Greenwich, but this North Greenwich. Passenger services were withdrawn in 1926, with freight continuing along the line up until the 60s, and it fell into disuse similar to around the same time that the docks had also fallen into disuse. And while we're in the vicinity of Limehouse station, it's worth noting the abandoned Limehouse curve, where there used to be passenger trains from Blackwall to Palace Gate. Abandoned since the 60s, a part of the curve has been demolished to accommodate housing development. However, there were plans to convert it to a high line similar to the one planned at Camden.
You know, I do find it quite interesting that the majority of the DLR runs on former railway tracks. I don't know why that's so interesting. Genuinely, I don't know why.
While I was contemplating my love for railway history, there were some other things that I was also contemplating while in this area.
What I can appreciate running in this area is all of the canals and the docks and everything. It is very, very lovely. Complete random side note, I can appreciate the bike racks that are at the DLR stations. It's a really nice touch.
And after looking at some DLR bike racks, what else can I appreciate?
But what I can appreciate at that point here is that it's like the old meets the new meets the new. Does that make any sense?
I mean, not really, but let's move on to Poplar.
With Poplar, there did actually used to be 3 Poplar stations. Now there's just this one here. I guess I could say it was I'm not even going to finish that off. I'm like cringing before I even finish that pun. Alright, at this point here, from Poplar, you can already see the next station, but then just directly adjacent is the future Canary Wharf Elizabeth Line station. So we're at West India Quay station. Now directly above us is platform 1, which is clearly disused. However, at one point it was actually in use, and it just feels weird to look directly up above and see what was a former platform.
Platform 1 was demolished in order to accommodate a new section of track from Westferry over to Canary Wharf in order to boost capacity in that station / area in particular.
And then just behind me is the new entrance into the Canary Wharf Elizabeth Line stations. So already at Canary Wharf DLR. This station, when it was built, it was taken on after Heron Quays, and we're going to be heading over there very shortly. When they were doing the developments around Canary Wharf, before the station had even opened, they realised just how busy Canary Wharf station was going to be. I think it was a couple of months after the station opened, they then redeveloped the station to increase their capacity.
Platform capacity at Canary Wharf increased from 2 platforms to 6. I would hate to think what it would be like if Canary Wharf still had 2 platforms to this day. Anyway, we're running through Heron Quay station to get to our next station, South Quay. Wait, I mean the old South Quay station.
I think it's around this area here, which was the old former South Quay station before it was relocated. It was moved to accommodate longer trains. Here we are at the new, I say new, but relocated South Quay station. Cool, so next is, I think, Cross Harbour. And then whatever else is after, I can't remember. So we just got to Cross Harbour station, formerly known as Cross Harbour and London Arena, and it's because there used to be an arena in the area.
London Arena was closed in 2006 in order to create more housing in the area.
And we're here at the iconic Mudchute station. Please. This station was going to be called Millwall Park, but then because at the time when the DLR opened, because Millwall FC was getting a bit of a bad rep, they didn't want to have the association with Millwall, and so that's why they changed the name. When it was going to be called Millwall Park, changed it to Mudchute.
While thinking about Mudchute and trying not to laugh, I passed through Millwall Park and had a moment of reflection at the River Thames.
So we're in the vicinity of what was the former Island Gardens station. It's been demolished and it has been completely built over on now. I guess that's what I really like about the DLR, is that it does reflect the history, and it's something that I can really appreciate.
Passing through Greenwich Foot Tunnel, we got to our next station, CUTTY SARK.
There's still the cutter for the boring machines when they were tunnelling underneath the River Thames that can still be found in the station.
Construction for the Lewisham extension started in 1997, taking 2 years to complete.
Made it to Greenwich DLR. Now this is more of a railway station fact. Greenwich station is one of the oldest station buildings in the world, as it was built in 1840, which I think was pretty cool. I say cool, I mean whatever your definition of cool is.
After leaving Greenwich, we soon got to our next station, Depthwood Bridge, where I was starting to get just a little bit tired.
I'm getting like fact fatigue at the minute. Like fatigue? It was funny in my head, alright. Anyway, gonna move on to the next station. So let's go to the next station. Here we are at Elvisenberg, one of the lesser used stations of the DLR at one point. And now we've got our final stop, Lewisham. Oh God, I'm absolutely shattered. Whew, all right, let's keep it going.
After around 20 kilometres of running, I finally made it to the last station of this section of the run today, at Lewisham.
All right, so we made it to Lewisham. So some things to note about Lewisham: there is a possibility of the Bakerloo line being extended here. Whether that goes ahead, I'll be curious. More than likely it will. I have a feeling that it will. But yeah, no, that is it from me. I'm absolutely knackered. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week for another episode of Running the DLR. See you next week for Underground. Take care. Bye.